If you love the drag content and all the exposed, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and also turn your notifications on.
Well, if you've ever been to LA, you've probably seen her out performing or maybe even walking the streets. She performs night after night and somehow she still looks flawless. She has a brand new album out now called BuckBonkey. Her name is Rhea Litre and she's about to be exposed.
I'm gonna totally get exposed today. I'm so excited.
Are you ready?
I'm nervous, I'm excited. I'm just very thankful and grateful to be here.
Well, I'm very grateful that you're here. I'm glad that we are socially distanced and in person. No more webcams. We had a very bad interaction with the webcams trying to do that.
Yeah, it was like AOL, you got mail days.
I feel like I was like actually aiming you to be able to get the questions going.
And everything was so pixelated. Well, because, you know, I relocated to Vegas. So my internet connection was not the connection because a new enemy of mine told me to get CenturyLink. And if you live in Vegas, do not get CenturyLink. That's what you give your enemy. But I'm glad we're set up with Cox Communications. You know how much I love Cox. And we're all good now.
So you were born and raised in San Diego. So what was little Rhea like?
Oh, I was very shy, but if I got a microphone in my hand or if there was a stage, I like lit up. Like that's where I was meant to be. I was always a performer. I started singing in church in choir, and then I started getting into band, and then I found color guard, and I was like, oh honey, I'm gonna be the ultimate flagget. And I was, honey, we got the silver medal that year. Yes, silver medal. And I've been diving into my color guard a little bit more now. You know, I got a new rifle, a saber, and a flag, and I'm like playing like I was when I was a kid. Like it's like, that's something that quarantine brought to me. I was like, oh, let me get back to basics about the things that I loved to do when I was a kid. And I'm finding like a lot of solace and happiness in that.
It's actually pretty cool that you're like revisiting like some old little hobbies and things that you had.
Back to basics, figure out the things that really inspired me. You know, color guard really inspired me to work hard. It taught me my work ethic. And you know, who doesn't like to see a bunch of fucking colors flying in the air at the same time? There's just something really orgasmic about this, you know. I love it.
Well, speaking of colors flying everywhere, when did your gay card start flying everywhere? When was the first time you remember liking a guy?
God, I mean, my first celebrity crush was George Michael Faith. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old. I remember watching VH1 in the morning and seeing that boot on the jukebox just did something to me. I don't know what it was, but it did something to me. And I sucked dick later that year for the first time.
What was the age?
9.
9?
Yeah.
Wow.
He wasn't that much older than me. He was my neighbor. But then he got really scared, told his parents. His parents told my parents, and I had to go to counseling at church. It was a whole mess.
Oh my gosh. How did your parents react when you actually came out of the closet?
My dad was never in the picture, so it was just my mom. And my mom was very accepting. My mom always really encouraged me to be, you know, the best me in whatever it was. She knew I loved to sing, hello, so she got me every Mariah Carey record she could. You know, she was just always very, very supportive at anything I wanted to do. You know, I always had all the things that I needed. My mom likes to talk about, you know, us growing up and us not having much. And I used to be like, Mom, like I had no idea that we were like even poor like that. I always had back to school clothes. I always, you know, I got like a bike one year for Christmas. You know, I just like, I had all the things I needed. I got a class ring. You know, she just really like, she really worked hard to make sure that we didn't know that we were struggling. So I live for that.
Now, I want to get started into a little bit of when you first started dibbling and dabbling in the drag. Mm-hmm. Now, I had heard that you were inspired by Raven's performance at Peanuts.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm a fan first of drag. I was always the front row with my camera. Like this is back when you had like a Motorola, and then you had like an actual digital camera that you went out with, and I would post all the girls, all the dream girls, all the girls at Peanuts. I would post all of them on YouTube. And it was kind of trailblazing for that time. I mean, there was only like 2 people doing that, like me and James St. James Daily Freak Show at WOW. So it was really great to like, go out and support the dolls, which is why I fell in love with drag. I mean, who doesn't fall in love with drag after seeing Raven do it? It was crazy. It was like crying. I had like an emotional full experience. She didn't care.
So when was the first time you decided to do drag? What age were you?
I was 21, I believe. I think I was 20, because I remember getting that wristband at Oasis in Upland, because I couldn't drink. And that's when I first started dabbling. I went to Upland because that's where the best drag was. And I went there to like seek after a drag mother. I wanted to like learn from the best. And I saw Mayhem perform. And I was like, that's the bitch I want to be my mother. And this is like young Mayhem, gutter butt Mayhem. She was doing Lil' Kim How Many Licks. She was splish splashing in the water fountain they had. I mean, she was a bad bitch. And I asked her 3 times, 3 separate occasions to be my drag mother. And she said, no, nope, you're gonna ruin your life. No one's gonna wanna fuck you. And I was like, well, watch this, mother. And that night, Raja was hosting the show, and that's how I got 2 drag mothers in Raja and Mayhem. And drag just kind of snowballed for me. It wasn't like a career that I was looking to do. It was something that I loved, but I had already had a career in PR. Like I was cute, I was making coin, I was account manager, my boss loved me, I had a very great job security. So when I left to do drag full time, it was like kind of like a blow to my boss, because I feel like he was kind of, mentoring me and getting me ready to maybe perhaps buy his company from him one day and carry the legacy. But Mama had other plans.
So you end up bringing up Mayhem. Mm-hmm. And was that the first time that they had seen you perform in drag, where you were like, you're gonna be my drag mothers now? How did that even come to be? What was the story behind that?
Oh, well, I asked her to be my drag mother, and Mayhem was like, well, not to be my drag mother, but to like teach me, put me in drag, like let me see. And she was like, well, here's your checklist. Like, here, you need to get mascara, foundation, size 13, because you're a monster. Like, gave me this checklist. And she entered me into the drag competition. And she was like, listen, you're performing tonight. And if you win, you get to be my drag daughter. And that's when I was like, oh shit, she might actually be like my drag mother. I thought she was just putting me in drag. And I killed it. I did Jennifer Lopez Get Right. I killed it. I remember the feeling. It was honestly, it was the first time I had been on stage since, singing. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a way for me to get on stage without singing, because I was so discouraged from it. I just took off. I got a gig like the next week. The next week after that, I had another gig, and then I was going out to Tiger Heat in my drags, and I was just like started going out in drags and started working for Paul Nichols, and it just like kind of snowballed. And I was like, well, bitch, I'm quitting my job. I'm tired. And here we are, bitch, 15 years later.
So 15 years ago, so from then to now, what would you say the biggest aesthetic change of Rhea Litre is?
Hair. I'm wearing hair. Everyone is living for Joey J and his non-hair wearing having ass, but honey, I started and I invented that movement. and I love seeing it. I use it as a way to set myself apart from the rest. And I think that I did that because I didn't feel like I was up to the par of the other girls. So I felt like if I took something away and just kind of did something my own, I wasn't in that path that they were. I always felt like the baby. I always looked up to the dream girls, the Delta Works, the Chad Michaels, Raja. That was the goal, is to be a dream girl. And I remember sitting looking at Chad doing his makeup being like, I wish I could do a dream girl crease. She's like, you'll get there one day. One day you'll do your dream girl crease, And now I could do a little dream girl crease. So it's all about, just saying yes and saying yes and saying yes until you finally do it. So.
And you end up, like, I've seen you so many times in and around WeHo. You're like the queen of West Hollywood. Well, how did that even come to be? How did you get your foot in the door?
This is how it really started. I was doing PR. I was at the account manager for the Abbey. And the Abbey had their big grand opening of the new addition that they did. And there was a red carpet and like all of these things. And I wasn't old enough to even be in the Abbey yet, but because I was part of the PR team, I got to go and work the carpet and meet the celebrities and all that stuff. So when I did that, I ended up meeting David Cooley, ended up meeting Jeffrey Sanker. And Jeffrey Sanker saw me in a magazine, you know, for some spread. Oh my God, my brain is like lost here. Jeffrey saw me in a center spread for In Magazine and was like, I want this guy here. And from that moment on, I got to know about nightlife. And I wasn't even old enough yet. Like, I had no idea, you know, what Here Lounge was, what Mickey's was, what any of that was. And they hired me, like young little twink boy at the door, you know, put on your little sailor hat and tell people they can't get in. I was like, okay, I got that job. Tom Whitman gave me a flyering job. I mean, I was just like really drawn to the nightlife. I was drawn to the lights. I was drawn to entertainment. I was drawn to Boys Town. And so even prior to me even being able to get into the clubs, I was outside handing out flyers and just trying to be a part of a community because I had just came out. I had just moved to LA from San Diego. I didn't have any friends. So it was a way for me to come out, meet friends, and I mean, get a free cocktail.
So you end up doing that. You're going all over West Hollywood, and I remember, what was it, season 3 of Drag Race, when they showed the auditions and you had auditioned.
Oh yes.
What's it like watching that back?
I mean, you couldn't tell me I wasn't gonna get on. I was like, this is gonna happen. This is it. This is gonna happen for me. It was honestly the first time I had gotten in drag during the day for the daytime because it was outside during the day, like 9 o'clock. You had to be there in full high whore drags and perform in front of your like icon. Like RuPaul was like my icon. Like she was the first celebrity like I ever met when I came to Hollywood, which is crazy. And I just was so drawn to her drag, like, and then doing a death drop on it and her saying, oh my God, and her acknowledging it and then them arrowing it. I mean, I was on cloud nine. I could have been on the cast. That's how excited I was for that little clip. I even put on my little cards, you know, like when you do your out-of-town gigs, it says like, as seen on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 3 casting episode. I would have put the whole thing, that just boom, right there. I'm not too proud, honey. I worked in PR. So I'm like, honey, let them know.
How many times have you auditioned for Drag Race?
I don't even know. I have no idea. Countless.
Countless?
Countless. I would say at least 10 times.
When was the last time you auditioned?
2 years ago.
Why didn't you audition this past year?
I don't know. It's emotional doing that tape. It's really all about putting yourself in out there. And I've had times where I would like break down making my tape, like being like, God, it's like you're begging to be picked, you know? So I think that I just wanted a break to really concentrate on my album and concentrate on something that I knew that was worth putting my energy into, because, you know, I'll put my energy into like these tapes and then you're sitting and you're waiting for the call, you know, like that Hollywood girl, you do that audition, you wait for your call. And, you know, this year I just wanted to concentrate on this record. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I love the producer so much. We have such a great connection. And we got to create something that's really magical and something that's uniquely Rhea Litre. Wow!
We're gonna get to that in just a little bit, but I do want to ask you, do you ever feel like your relationship with Willem and could be a reason why you do not get on Drag Race?
People say that all the time. I get them in the comments. I read them on YouTube. I don't know. I think that if I'm meant to be on the show, it should be my own star quality, my own star power that should be able to carry me through. And if that is a true fact and that is a true statement over there at the Wows, fine. I'll be on Willam's Drag Race any day.
How did you guys end up actually meeting?
Transcontinental, a live drag rock singing band, and it was like me, Kelly Mantle, Vicky Vox, Detox, and Willem. And I had met Willem prior, like going out, like she would try to charge me at the door, and I thought it would be really funny. But we never really like connected until TransK. And before Let's Have a Kai Kai, like I wrote that song, and I wrote it for me and Courtney. And Courtney is notorious for not doing, dirty songs. And she's like, well, why don't you ask Willem? And I was like, Willem just got off Drag Race. Like, Boy is a Bottom is like everywhere. Like, she's on tour. Like, she's not gonna do this song with me. She's like, girl, just fucking ask her. And I was like, okay, I'll ask her. And I sent it to Willem, and Willem was like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. And I was like, work, okay, well, that was amazing. And Willem changed my life. She changed my life. That song we performed all over the world, 3 different continents. I even like performed it in Dubai. That song really catapulted me to mainstream drag, and so I'm forever indebted and thankful to my sister Willam. And she's always been that ride or die bitch through and through my whole career. There's just, sisterhood just gets stronger when you travel together and you work together, and there's no one in this world like Willem. Period.
Would you say that Willem is your closest drag friend?
Absolutely. But I have like a lot of close drag friends. But Willem and I have definitely gotten closer over the years. My other big close drag friend is Six. I talk to her every day. And those 2 are pretty about it. As far as like my drag friends are concerned, like my close ones, my ride or die bitches, those are the 2 that I know that like even if I fucked up badly, I could call them and they would be like, well, you fucked up and this is how you can fix it. Like real sister talk. And I'm really like appreciative of that and having like stable friendships, especially in the drag community when all the girls are always coming for each other.
Looking at Willem, what would you say is something that the people at home may not know about Willem that they should, or any type of misinterpretation you think?
Willem would never hurt a fly. Like, that mouth is really quick and really witty, but she would never hurt a fly. She doesn't have a bad bone in her body. She would, She has literally given the clothes off of her back for me before. If I've ever needed anything, if I was ever going through something, like she is that bitch. She has your back. So any haters out there, bye. Bye. That's why I said, I'm totally fine being on Willam's Drag Race. I'm all over the YouTube, and I feel like Willem really does go above and beyond for me in her content. And, just through all the work that we do together. I feel like, I'm always like, fuck, thanks, sis. Thank you for taking me on this tour. Thank you for like doing this other song with me. Thank you for being on my album. You know what I mean? She's always there for me when I need her, and she's just like, she's a bad bitch, but y'all already knew that.
You said right there, you said, you're very thankful. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one thing that I've noticed about you over the years is that I remember that I was at, I believe it was Beaches? Probably before that, or maybe at the Abbey, and you approached me, mm-hmm. and you were like, oh my gosh, I saw your Exposed with Willem, and you were like, oh my gosh, you're so good, and you were just very, like you said, thank you so much for showing a different side to Willem. Like, thank you so much.
I think it was the first time that people had ever seen Willem in not playing a role, or not being bashed, or not being in some kind of controversial drama. I feel like it was the first time that people got to sit down and like, talk to the sis, and I feel like that was really great for her. So I'm so glad to be able to do that here now, sure. So that people can actually know that I'm a dumb whore.
So controversy surrounds certain people. Mm-hmm. Somebody who you ended up thanking a couple of months ago in the thanking aspect was somebody named Jeffree Star. Mm-hmm. And you thanked him recently. I know you guys have had a friendship.
Yes.
What has that friendship been like over the years, especially somebody in California who started off on a low level and has a trajectory and an empire in the beauty realm. How did that relationship come to be?
I mean, I remember seeing Jeffrey at the Avalon at like those party monster parties, and we would all dress up. And I mean, we did not have two nickels to rub together. I mean, he was driving some like beat up little car, and he would crash at my house here in Hollywood because he was here. He was in Orange County, or like he would pick me up at work when I was working in Eagle Rock and like swoop over and take me home. And come out to clubs, but like always like stayed in contact here and there. We're not the best of friends, but I mean, good enough for him to reach out to me when he realized I was going through some shit. I was having some really awful thoughts, you know, during the quarantine. I feel like everybody has really gone through it in their own way. And I voiced it on Twitter, and I get a call right away from Jeffrey, just being like, what's going on? I'm like this quarantine is just like flipped my whole life upside down. I feel like an asshole even complaining about it because I know I don't have it worse off than somebody else on the street. But like it still hurts. I'm still going through this. What am I gonna do for work? What am I gonna do for money? What are we gonna do as entertainers? Little did I know it would be like start a podcast or something, but like, girl, calm down. But he was like, sister, I feel you. Everyone's going through it right now. Like, and I know that you didn't even ask for this, and I know that it's just money, but like, I just sent you like $5K, just like help you, you know, get some kind of solace in some area of your life. And I was like, you are a fucking bad bitch. Like, and I was like, whoa, like, how, like, I'm not giving you my Venmo. I'm not letting you give me. He was like, already in there, did it on Zelle. I was like, that's how that shit works? I need to give that to my employer. But he's been amazing throughout the years. He's very controversial, and anytime anybody asks me about Jeffrey, I just say, ask him. Yeah. Yeah. He'll tell you better than me.
Speaking of controversial, I'm gonna get into it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can gladly free the air
Mm-hmm.
and say whatever you want.
What did I do?
There was a video of you that was on Twitter that you ended up discussing on Twitter about 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a video of you outside of a nightclub rapping, and the use of the N-word was in there. So looking back on it, do you see how that was incorrect to say? Do you see how that is problematic? And do you think that you are a racist? Or do you think that you could potentially have a racist past?
Well, first and foremost, I do believe that Black Lives Matter. I do believe in ending racism. I don't feel like I have a racist bone in my body, but I also recognize that I do have privilege because of the way that I look. I am Mexican and white, and I grew up in a very, like, you know, urban neighborhood. I always loved rap music, and in that video, like, I can only speak for that video. Like, I was freestyling, I think it was like 1:45 in the morning outside of Roscoe's in Chicago. And I used it in a freestyle. And I hope that people can see that the use of the word was not malicious in any way. And I know for sure now that, you know, you can't do those things, you can't say those things, you know, the words hurt people. And it was a stupid mistake. It was a stupid mistake. And Marco actually told me to delete that video probably like 5 years ago or something like that, because it was in my video that I posted on my YouTube. And I just forgot about it. I forgot about him telling me that. It was in this like long video montage of my time in Chicago with Willem. And I regret it, number one. And, you know, there was another time I used the N-word in a tweet, and it was like quoting a comedian. And I just hope that people can realize that anytime I said that, it was not in a malicious way, you know, advertently. I would never try to hurt somebody like that. But I do know that words can hurt people, and I'm very sorry to anyone out there that was hurt by what I said. Cancel culture is very real. And it's something that was being done to me. And I had to just, you know what, step back listen, try to understand, and learn. And I'm learning more and more every day about, my privilege. And I think it's my time to do my best to give back and use my privilege for the right things. And one thing that I did is I wrote a song called Clouds on my album. And we recorded it during all of the helicopters and the protests and everything. And I had the music there, and I was like thinking, it's all I could think about. So I asked my producer, I'm like, should we do this about, equality and, our trans brothers and sisters and anyone that feels like they're not being seen and heard? Like, I got you. Like, I'm here for you. Like, if you need a shoulder to cry on, if you need someone to talk to you, I got you. And so check out that song on the record, and it features me, Mayhem, Taylor XO, and Velo.
You said cancel culture. And one thing I always notice is that cancel culture a lot of times will go into the long tweet history or the long whatever from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And like, that's kind of what you said. It was a long time ago. And then sometimes people in cancel culture can say that people can't grow. They can't do that.
Absolutely.
Do you think people can grow?
Absolutely. Every day you're growing, and people change. Like when people say, oh, honey, she's changed. Yeah, I've changed. I've grown. I've learned. I've had life experiences. I've traveled. I've had conversations with people that are not like me, so I can understand where they're coming from. And a big thing that helped me with, that whole moment was talking to my friends of color, talking to Todrick, talking to Raja, talking to Mayhem, and, basically like throwing it all out there. Like, did I do something wrong? Well, yes, you did, but you can rectify this because you're not this person, Rhea. You just have to be a good person, and you can't listen to all these comments. You can't watch all those comments. All you can do is trailblaze through and do right and do better. You've already acknowledged it, and now it's time to just close the door. And I was like, okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. Let me let my actions speak for itself. My current actions.
So you ended up mentioning Marco, and I know that you were in a little fashion show of his.
Dude, I cannot tell you, my whole life I've dreamt to be a supermodel. You know what I mean? And for someone to give me the chance to live out that lifelong fantasy is just insane and so crazy. It was the first Marco runway show that had ever happened, LA Fashion Week. I was wearing a baseball cap. I think I was right before Dexter. And Dexter went off, and I was like, how the fuck, what is going on here? This is what the show is about. Having, someone like me, and then having Dexter, and then having Sassy Divine, and then, having one of these hot go-go's from, the Abbey, or it was just so inclusive and so diverse. I had never seen anything like it before. And I knew that it was going to be magic, and it was. People ate that shit up. They were like, Marco show? I still get messages to this day about getting into the Marco show. How do I do it? I'm like, call Chanel. Call Chanel.
So you are on an LA Fashion Week stage. You end up doing songs, like you said, with Willem. You're very well known in the drag community, but you haven't had a platform like Drag Race. How have you managed to keep a name for yourself, make a name for yourself, and have that exposure constantly?
Collaborations. Collaborate with the people that you love. Collaborate with your friends. Collaborate with your sisters. Push your ego to the side. I built my whole career on lifting other people up. I had Make Out Mondays, which was, one of the only shows in West Hollywood that lifted up the newbies in drag, giving them a platform, giving them a stage to figure out who they were as performers. I just have always based my career on, lifting other people up and kind of it's a give and receive. I'm going to scratch your back here, you scratch mine here, you know what I mean? It's like a bartender. You give me a free drink. When you come to the back, I'll give you a blowjob. Like, it's just a very nice exchange. You know, I like to have a nice exchange with my friendships. I don't like one-sided things. I think that we all need to support and work with each other. And that's what my whole career is. My whole career is based on the support of my friends and my fans and my friends and the people that love me, you know? I got lucky.
Yeah.
I got lucky.
And let's talk about that support that you've been giving people, because you took the pandemic as a time to make Quarantine Queen.
Yes.
And that was the first digital drag show that I had seen. What inspired you to do that? And looking at this whole, 6, 7, 8, how many ever months we've now been into it, what has it been like?
Oh, bitch, I was lit, first of all. And they told me at Food Bar, they're like, they're shutting down the clubs. I was like, not my show. They're not gonna shut down my show. We're gonna get them. We're gonna get them. And I got my my roommate, JoJo. And I was like, we're doing a drag show at home tonight. And I got on my phone and I texted I think I texted like 300 people. Watch Quarantine Queen. It's going live at 8, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like on your Instagram. And I was joking when I was like, I'll put my Venmo and see if people tip me. And now it's like literally how everyone's making their money. It's so crazy. And we did it. We did it. We did 3 different performances in the house. I remember like watching the comments. That first show was insane. Like Alaska was like, bitch, are you kidding me? Because this is over. You know, every single one of my friends. And I think we had like 200, 300 viewers on that, that first show. And that was crazy. I'd never had that many people on my live before. But people were eating it up. And I knew that this was like the new movement. This was it. And you know, all the queens, I knew that people were gonna jump on it. I knew that everyone was like, bitch, I'm gonna do my show, I'm gonna do my show, I'm gonna do my show. But you can't let it get to you and you create something and other people do it. You know, you just gotta stay true to what your formula is and know that you are what makes your show unique. So that's why I'm always like, yeah, bitch, I'll post your show for you. I'll do your show. We can do a collab. We can do a little switch. I always try to use the little platform that I do have to give some other people some, you know, some spotlight.
Yeah. And I think that's always like such a really cool and inspiring thing about you, is that you always do uplift people and you're always being like, hey, like you said before, let's work together in a collaboration.
I believe in strength in numbers. I feel like if there's a bad bitch that comes into this city, I'm not gonna sit here and try to beat her down. I'm gonna be like, bitch, I wanna know about you. I wanna know your struggles. I wanna know your life, and I wanna be your sister. Like, let's do this together. So you know, all of the hating in the drag community and all the butting heads, bucking heads, if you will, you know, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I feel like if those people really just put their egos aside and created a sisterhood with their sisters, they would get a lot farther.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what is it like dating as a drag queen?
I don't date. I am married to my job. It takes a really crazy strong person to date a crazy clown like me. Like, I'm nuts. Like, and I know it. Like, I'm cute, I'm gorgeous, I'm fun, but I'm crazy. I'm like a bona fide Scorpio, which means I get what I want and I want what I get. You know what I mean? It's very that. I haven't been with anyone in like 6 years. And I think that it was a good thing. I needed to step away. I needed to step away from boys for a second so I can find me a man.
Do you think that you will eventually settle down?
I would absolutely love to get married. I would absolutely love to be fucking cuffed up. It is cuffing season. I think that I'm in a place now where I can actually give myself to a relationship. I feel a lot more stable now in like mentally, and I know more what I want and what I need out of a relationship. So I'm down. My number is 323-823-9122.
So recently, you ended up making a move from California over into Las Vegas. Yeah. What inspired that move, and are you a permanent Las Vegas resident now?
What does any superstar go to Vegas for?
A residency.
Honey, Dragapalooza is an all live singing drag rock show. And we've been touring it for like 2 years. And we have been in talks to do this residency forever. And during the pandemic, honey, they called and they said, well, we want to go ahead and push on through. I knew that my job as a promoter in LA was not going to exist for a couple years. A promoter, if you don't know what they do, they bring as many people as they can to a venue. That doesn't happen anymore. And I saw that and I knew that and I was like, bitch, what am I gonna do? I knew I have this residency coming up, soon. So let's just go there. Let's go pay that Vegas rent instead, which is half of what I was paying in West Hollywood. And just do it. I mean, it was either sink or swim. Sink or swim. I mean, I was either gonna stay here, pile up all my rent, spend all my savings. I had, $12,000, which was like crazy amount of money for me to have. Like I scrimped and saved my whole life. And in 2 months, 6,000 of it was gone. And I was like, oh my God, my pussy, it's so dry right now. I need to get some wetness. And the way I got my wetness is running my ass to Las Vegas and being in a bigger space, more bang for my buck. I'm now an hour and a half from my mom, which is amazing. And I have a DJ residency at the Garden. And the Garden is like the new gay place to be in Las Vegas. Like it brings the glamour to gay Vegas.
No Piranha?
Well, Piranha is great. It just doesn't have a lot of glamour. It's where you go, where you want to dance all night and fucking find some guy and take him to the stall and, do bumps off of his dick. You know what I mean? That's why I go to Piranha. Been thrown out of there a couple times. Sorry, girl. Hi, Colin.
So in this process of, moving to Vegas, you're in Vegas, you're doing your show, you end up recording an album.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about BuckBonkey.
Well, okay, BuckBonkey. First of all, people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
BuckBonkey is a synonym for a naked party or an orgy.
Oh.
And it's kind of a southern term. Like think of buck wild, buck naked. Well, they like to have BuckBonkeys. And I just thought that it was such a funny word when I was looking up synonyms for orgies. And I was like, BuckBonkey, that is fucking crazy, number one. And I looked up the hashtag and nobody had used it. I'm like, this is it. This is the EP. And Sam, the producer, was like, I want to do this album with you. I want to do this EP with you, but you better take this seriously. Like, you're not going to be late to your session. You're going to be professional with this. Because he knows I'm a nightclub party girl. I don't wake up before noon. There's just no way that's happening. So my session's gonna be 8 p.m. and you're gonna have to deal with that. But he worked with me and we wrote and produced this incredible EP that is authentically Rhea Litre, which is your family, your support system, and supporting, the people that you love. I have a song with all of my kids, which is called Whole, House of Litre Entertainment. And it's Sam Garfield. Yeah, I'll let you laugh. Whole. Sam Garfield, JoJo Guads, and my daughter, my new fierce daughter. Her name is Nix Litre. She is killing it. She's a quarantine baby. I gave birth to her in quarantine, and she's been killing it. When we were open here, she had her brunch at Beaches already. I mean, she was working like 3 nights a week. I was like, you better go off. That is a Litre bitch. You are bucking your way through this life. And that's what really BuckBonkey is to me. It's like really just kind of like bucking up. Like, this is who I am. There's 400 million fucking drag queens in the world now. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put out an album.
So you have some features on there. Mm-hmm. You have Caswell.
I have Caswell.
You have Willem.
Willem and I, we've done so much music together. So this, we got to do something really fun, kind of 90s style. We did an interlude. So it's us sitting at the bar, talking about, the people that we see, just people watching, talking shit, getting hit. Yeah, it was really, it's really funny. Just Willem off the cusp is everything. Yeah. So just sitting in the vocal booth going off with her, he just took the bits and pieces and threw them together and it was gold. Caswell, I did was 6. 6 and Caswell are on the song. It's called Tuck It. It's a parody of Push It. And I haven't even heard Caswell's rap yet or his feature yet, so I'm super excited. He's a gay icon.
Yeah.
I have a LGBT gay, I think he's a music icon. First gay rapper ever. And he's on my fucking record. Are you kidding me? I'm gagging.
When I was in Atlanta and I was in college, I had just come out of the closet, and the first queen that I had interviewed was Adore. And after Adore, the PR person messaged me and was like, hey, we want you to interview Caswell, but we want you to do it in a hotel room bed. And I freaked out so much because I thought that it was gonna be like some crazy sex thing, so I ended up turning him down. So I'm sorry, Caswell. Yes!
Bitch, I'll get in bed with Caswell any day, okay? Take me to your ice cream truck. I'll buy you some ice cream.
So tell me what the overall vibe of this album is.
It's nightclub. It's party music. It's feel-good music. I don't like music that brings you down. I'm very much like, do a bump and hit that BPM.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's a love letter to my friends and my family. It's a love letter to West Hollywood. Anyone that has followed me throughout my career in nightlife, you know, the struggle is real being a local queen. And so to actually put together a body of work with all the people that you love is so incredible. I feel so accomplished. I feel so excited for everyone to really kind of see what I'm about. Because, you know, a lot of the things I've done have been features or covers. And, you know, I'm kind of, you know, known for being, you know, the friend of the girl. Like, ooh, look at Willem's sister, or, you know, August Getty's friend, or like Gigi Gorgeous's friend. You know, I'm kind of like the friend of the homegirl. So this gives people a chance to really get to know me and my family, my kids, because my kids are the ones. And I'm really excited to present my kids to you guys.
And what would you say is your favorite track on this album that everybody should like look out for?
You know what? You can't go wrong with BuckBonkey. It's the first single on the album. It's out right now. And it's fun, it's sexy, it's dark, it's me.
It's you.
It's BuckBonkey, baby.
Well, we will have the link down below in the description, so you can click on that and stream it or download it or buy it, whatever your music preference is.
Buy it.
Buy it. Okay, no streaming, buy it.
Buy it.
So as we're closing all this out, I do want to ask you, Rhea, what do you think the biggest misconception of you is?
Well, I just looked up my net worth the other day, and it said $2 billion. That is definitely not a fact.
Maybe you have money hidden in like somewhere from a previous relative.
Bitch, I got bricks under a bed somewhere. I fucking don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think that it's, you know, my tagline is drag's baddest bitch, but it's not because I'm a bitch, it's because I'm a bad bitch. You know, I'm gonna buck my way through my career. I'm going to pave a way for myself. If there's not gonna be a lane for me, I'll fucking, you know, make one. I'm not going anywhere. And for a second there, I thought that I was. I felt like I was done with drag. I felt like I was done after, you know, controversies and quarantine and pandemics and everything. I just, you know, I feel like everyone kind of wanted to throw the towel in, at least at a certain point during this pandemic. And my answer to that was doing an album.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to do something. I needed to do something that actually meant something to me, because I just didn't want to go to another nightclub and like drink all night and then, you know, come home. I wanted to do something with this quarantine. I wanted to like have a product. I wanted to push it, and I wanted it to be good. And I wanted to be me. I wanted it to be my friends. I wanted people to see the camaraderie and what it's like to have a true friendship and have true, you know, sisters in your life.
Where do you see Rhea in 5 years?
Hopefully very rich off an app. I don't know what the app is gonna be, but hopefully very rich in the Caribbean, on an island, somewhere with my closest friends. That's where I want to be in 5 years.
And my last question for you is, what is a message or words of wisdom that you have for the LGBTQIA+ community?
I think that education, education is great, and it teaches the children. I'm fucking kidding. I'm fucking kidding. What was that question again?
What little words of wisdom do you have for the LGBTQIA+ community?
Find out who you are, love yourself, love the best things about you, and even the things you hate about you, try to figure out what it is that you love about those things that you hate. Like, I hate that I fly off the handle, but I love that I'm emotional. You know what I mean? Really learn how to love yourself, because you really, really cannot learn to love anybody else until you love yourself. And thank God for RuPaul for all of her mantras, because I live by a lot of them, and they get me through, really do. Learning to love myself has been a process, and I'm still learning to love myself every day, but it's helped me a lot. And make friends. Stop being an asshole. Stop being a bitch. Get off your phone. Go lay under the sun somewhere and experience nature.
Experience nature. Well, thank you so much for being here.
I love you.
And exposing yourself, Rhea. For those who don't know, if you didn't pay attention to any of the interview, Rhea has a new album out now. It's called BuckBonkey. And Rhea has suggested that you guys actually partake in a BuckBonkey while listening to BuckBonkey and send the videos to her.
Yes. 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 Goes down in the DM.
Where can everybody find you on the socials?
Rhea Litre, and if you can't spell it out, and if you're not following me already, just look up Drag's Baddest Bitch. You'll find me.
There we go. Well, thank you so much. I'm Joseph Shepard, and this is the beautiful Rhea Litre.
Love you.
Cool.
Girl, you went to sleep at 4:30 and then we drove.
I know, I was exhausted.
All right.
But it's a Joseph Shepard exposed interview, honey. I'm pushing.